It's time for connection of the mind, body, and emotions. Welcome to a place where you can unplug, tune in, and create. It's time for Conjuring the Human Spirit with your hosts, Allison Parr-Plasha and Sean McGuire Meeks. You're invited. Let's begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Conjuring the Human Spirit. My name is Sean McGuire Meeks. I'm your host, along with Allison Parr-Plasha.
We are so happy you're here. It's a rainy morning in Georgia at the farm, and we're surrounded by our little frog who loves to be in every episode. And it's just a cozy morning just to curl up and hang out with all of you.
Yeah, so hang out with us, like they're next to us here on the couch, huh?
That's right.
And
Plenty of space for y'all.
yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear the frogs when they're chirping, croaking. What does a frog do? Ribbiting. Mm-hmm. But it's so magic. It's so affirming when they're chirping in the background. And I do have frogs that live in the house, and we allow them to be here. We put out water bowls, and they swim in the dog's water bowl in the morning precariously before they get fed. They hop across the room. It's like they have their own little routine too. I'm just so grateful to have these extra beings in the house.
They're like little elves, though. I've yet to see one. I thought that dog bowl was outside that you guys were talking about.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God. So here in the house.
In the house.
So I hear them, but I haven't had a visual yet.
Yeah. Well, I think our production company, D. Daniels Media, got some pictures of them yesterday hopping across the kitchen floor. So I'd probably put those in one of the show notes of some sort. So they are an integral part of the being here. And just like we invite them, we really want to invite you to be with us as a reminder that, Allison was just saying to me, Sean, it's so great to have you sitting across from me. I don't feel so alone. And
Yes.
She said, I don't know if you experienced this too, but it's just so great to have you here. And I said, absolutely, I experience it. And I think in our pre-meeting, we were really talking about how can we more make you, the listener, feel like you're sitting with us so that you're not alone.
Yeah, and it's something, we know well. I would refer to myself as like the lonely life coach, of just not having like other colleagues or people to bounce things off of. And what's wonderful is just this past October, I got a office, and so I have colleagues, and they're therapists and a nurse practitioner, and a nurse practitioner for family medicine, but also for psychiatry. And they're as lovely can be, but they're not life coaches. And so there's just something about with Sean being able to just bounce things off of. And then D. Daniels Media, it's just, I feel like it's a tribe. It's just the two of us. It's the four of us and you. So we really do. We were talking at dinner last night, like we'd love to hear from you. We'd love feedback. We'd love questions. We'd love to hear how you're digesting and experiencing the podcast. Are you doing the homework assignments? What's working? What's not working? So the more the merrier. I do miss the idea of like a talk show of people coming, calling in, but we can do that in different ways. So we have our social media, et cetera, et cetera. So we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, well, we were saying a lot of this in previous episodes, what Allison just said, and then we were talking to the team around how can they do that, and they told us that depending on the way you're listening to us, you can actually get in there and review us. Sometimes you can give us stars, sometimes you can leave comments. We're monitoring all of that because we are here to serve you. Mm-hmm. That's the purpose in sitting here, is to tell a story with a purpose. And the purpose is so that you don't feel alone, so that we can offer encouragement to you. I hope you can hear the frog. I just gave a little pause for offer encouragement to you and for you to feel like you're sitting with us so that you don't feel alone. It's all, at the end of the day, one big juicy experiment.
That's right. That's right. And this is an experiment. We want you to be part of it.
And that's the topic of the episode today, is one big juicy experiment. And so just like Allison was saying that she got an office with colleagues and all of this, and I think often we make decisions in our lives with expectations of what that experiment might yield, right? And so you just said that it was something that you did, and yet you still kind of felt alone in it because they weren't life coaches, and that being, this is what was more fulfilling. So we try things, right, in order to see how they work, one big juicy experiment without any expectation, or with expectations, but then to see what actually flushes out.
Right. And I often use the metaphor of like just throwing spaghetti on the wall. And sometimes it sticks and sometimes it doesn't. It's also like I'll look at like many, many doors. And it's like we knock on a door, nobody answers. We go to the next door, nobody answers. And so, but eventually, if we keep going, that door will open. And again, it's just experimenting. Is it the kind of knock that I'm doing? Like, how can I do this differently? So we learn so much along the way. But I think as we get older, a lot of people, they stop experimenting. They stop trying on new ways of being. And it can be scary doing these experiments. We were talking about our big juicy experiments and, mine a year and a half ago, moving, picking up my family and moving to Savannah, Georgia was a huge experiment. And I thought it would go much more smoothly than it has. And yet I'm very grateful. My brother was visiting recently, and it just feels like Savannah's like our forever home. I do not see moving. And I could never say that where I lived before.
Yeah, Deepak Chopra says that if we start each year with as much uncertainty as possible, that's living. When we are so certain about everything that's happening in our lives, then we're really not living because we're kind of like on autopilot. So to have first of all, juicy is Allison's word.
That's right.
So she's like, we were going to do this podcast in the production company is out of Savannah. So she's like, you could stay at my house. You could stay in my juicy bedroom, not her bedroom, but her guest
room,
her
which we call the womb room.
So I sent her this meme of Jack Black saying, juicy.
Right.
Yeah. It's kind of like the word moist, kind of.
And fluid. And you know what? Okay. So I'm just going to out myself here. Before I branded my name to be Vie Esprit, which means like life spirit coming together, I wanted to name my business The Juicy Mystic.
See, her word. I'm telling you.
I hired a branding company and they just said no. I mean, like this, you can take it in a lot of directions and we just don't think it would be worthwhile. But, and I did all this writing about juicy, which is
well, good.
fluidity,
So let's talk about it then. What is a juicy experiment versus just an experiment?
And I'm stealing this word. I have to really acknowledge my oldest sister, Heidi. Hopefully she'll be listening to this episode, but she is just an over-the-top amazing speaker and super, super funny. So she came up with that word years ago, juicy. So I think it's big. It's something to talk about. It's life-changing. So it's not like this simple experiment, although I'm a huge fan of doing simple experiments. There's something like, let's give them something to talk about, right? But giving ourselves something to talk about that's life-changing.
And yet I also want to honor that life-changing for me is different than life-changing for you, who's ever listening. For you, it might be taking a different way home from work today. That may be radical for you. And there's no judgment around that. So like really
we got to begin somewhere, right?
Pushing yourself to a juicy place.
Yes. It's like, if we are out of practice or we just didn't have a lot of support growing up to experiment, we've got to start somewhere. So it's like the train needs to leave the station. I often say that. So taking a different way to work, changing up your shampoo, changing hairdressers. We were talking about that earlier. Yeah, it's like it's all good, but it also gains momentum. So it's like, okay, so this experiment leads to a bigger experiment, which leads to a bigger experiment.
Only if you're willing.
Only if you're willing. And we're going to be talking about that in another episode.
Yeah, when I was wanting to be a life coach so many years ago, I ended up I was with my sister. We were out in in Seattle at the Fisherman's Wharf, and there was a woman who was hammering out some bracelets with sayings on them. And she had this bracelet that said, begin. And it wasn't in my size. And she said, not to worry, I can make it for you. And so she made me one in my size. And it was just simple, like this hammered out, almost like typewriter, like, kind of crooked.
Yeah.
And it said begin. But it was so meaningful for me because really the beginning of a juicy experiment is the beginning. And sometimes it's kind of like a New Year's resolution. We do it, we begin with it, and then we fail, and then we say, oh, well, shit, well, I failed at that. I said this is what I was going to do for the year, and I'm 3 weeks in, and I've already stopped. And it's a reminder just to begin again.
Yeah, or that experiment. So one thing I notice, like with my clients, is that some people hang out in the experiment way too long. Like it's not working, and then people are trying to force it, and I'm like, abandon ship. It's okay. There's a more beautiful, bigger one waiting for you. So it is. There's like a fine line. It could be like experimenting with a new relationship. And it's like all the red flags are there. It's just not working, or you're just not into it. It's not juicy. But yeah, like I meet people where I'm like, oh my gosh, they were in this marriage way too long, or in this particular relationship way too long, or this job way too long. So I think, these experiments do take a lot of courage and
They're super
support.
hard.
They are.
They're hard because it's change.
Yes.
And change is hard.
Yes.
And there's also a lot of trust involved with that.
Yes.
And trusting is hard. And as a person who's a great human doing, to be a human being is hard. So because being creates doing. So when I'm being in this experiment, when I'm really being in it, I'm motivated by this experiment, by what the spirit of me is calling for me to do, kind of letting go of what the outcome is and just being in this place of being and willingness, stepping and moving my feet, being called to do a podcast, moving my feet, letting go of what I want the end game to be. And that requires trust.
Yes.
And trust is hard. One of the hardest things to do, because I'm letting go of the results. I'm simply listening to the prompt in the spirit of me telling me this is what is next. So what is calling you? What keeps bubbling up in you? And are you listening to that? Are you able to begin? Because this moment is your life. Not the last one, not the next one. Oh crap, I didn't do that. Well, all it requires is to begin in this moment, because this is the moment to begin.
Yeah.
Okay, begin now. Wait a minute, no, now. Begin now. I know
Yeah.
it seems redundant, but it's the power of now.
Power of Now, right? There's a book about
There
that.
is, Eckhart Tolle.
But I'm really like holding on to your word trust. And it's kind of, I'm doing a little level 1 listening because I'm going back in my head of there was a period of time where I didn't trust. And then I moved into a period of time where I did trust. And I would say like a huge juicy experiment is adopting our beautiful children. But our first son in particular, because we had navigated infertility for maybe 8 years, I think. And I was poked and prodded and for years and this and that and silence. And then when we started the adoption process, I'm like, oh my God, are we part of a scam? Because there were a lot of scams going on. And then everybody was picking up their precious children that were in our group except us. And that's when I was like, okay, I think we're part of a scam. But then here Saul was born. And Saul, we did not name him. His birth mother did. And it means God-given and to ask for. And there was just something in his birth that changed me from moving to this place of mistrust to trust. And it really hasn't left me. And that came from a huge, big, juicy experiment.
Allison and I are so excited to invite you to the Magic of Listening workshop here at the farm.
Woohoo!
Yeah, September 19th, 20th, 21st. It's an auspicious time because it is fall equinox. That is a time of letting go, of stepping into this new you that you want. So come to the magic of listening. You can stay here at the farm. We have accommodations, both cabins and in the main homestead. There's also hotels nearby. If you've got hotel points, there's Hilton and Marriott. The primary thing is we want you here. It's $600 for the weekend, plus your accommodations. Lunch and dinner are always included in the weekend. If you stay here at the farm, then breakfast is included too, and you are in for a treat.
Also, let's just get real. I'm so excited to meet all of you because each time we do an episode, I really feel like we are sitting down with all of you having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a drink of water. And so I just think it would be absolutely fun and fabulous
To do it in real time.
Oh my gosh, and to sit side by side and to meet like-minded people really in this incredible space of intimacy and connectivity.
Okay, and that's here at the farm. That's Pinehurst, Georgia. That's central Georgia. That's just 2 hours south of Atlanta. There's actually a shuttle even from the airport that will carry you just 20 minutes from the farm. And once you get behind the gates, we'll close the gates and you won't go anywhere. You'll be snug as a bug in a rug here with us for the weekend. And it's limited availability, so book now, maximum 12 people. But if there's 13, we'll make room. So you're invited.
Absolutely.
Please join us.
Yes.
We'll see you in September.
Can't wait.
I've listened to many podcasts and YouTube series, and if you only do this, then you will be. If you do this, then if you did it like I did, then you will be. I think there's a common, probably a question in your mind as you listen to us, like, are they really doing all the things that they say they're doing over there? And we kind of had a discussion about it the other day, and the answer was yes and no. Yes, there are seasons in our lives where we're in these juicy experiments and trying, and then there are valleys where we're down in the valley, and the only thing we can do is to move our feet, maybe shuffle our feet on that day or on that week or in that month. So I just want to acknowledge that Allison and I are human here with you.
Yeah, we are like far from perfect.
But
At least I'll speak for myself.
I am far from perfect, perfectly imperfect,
Yes.
as they say. And it's not about doing what we do. It's about listening to some tools that we have gathered over the years and finding those that resonate within the spirit of you and then implementing them because it's authentic to you. And if you try on something and it doesn't work, then don't judge it. Just don't, just
Oh yeah, my thing is like,
move on.
yeah, that's like, and it's always asking that ongoing question of like, well, what am I learning about myself? Or what did I learn about myself in this? So learning, failure is a good thing. It means we are moving our feet. I think where things get dangerous is if we stay in that place of immobilization.
Well, and self-judgment. I remember when you were coaching me, I was going through some sort of midlife crisis, and I went from a Lexus to a Range Rover to a Porsche to a BMW.
Juicy experiments.
All big, juicy experiments. And I was never satisfied in any of them. I had tremendous judgment, and I ended up with this Chevy truck, four-wheel drive Chevy truck, and I realized I just want to run over shit.
I remember that.
You know what I mean? And so I've had this truck now. It's got 120,000 miles on it. Everybody thinks it's brand new because I love my truck. And I remember calling you and saying, I feel so foolish around all those cars that I bought and did and trying to find. And you said, it's a big, juicy experiment,
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah.
You're trying things on. And I think that's important. We have to try things on. Does this work for me? And then really listening. And also, what's my motive and intention for buying it? And it shifted. I thought to have the Porsche was, this poor kid from 23rd Street in Erie, Pennsylvania is driving a convertible Porsche. Boy, did I feel like something, but that didn't feel the whole that I was seeking, which was ultimately this authentic me, this wanting to drive over shit, this masculine side of myself that walks up to my truck. I feel satisfied every time. It was about me, and it's about you. you're trying things on out there. You're trying things on that you'll hear in this podcast, not because we're the experts, but because we're offering suggestions for you to try it on.
Yeah, through our own experiences. There was a guru named Satchidananda who founded the Integral Yoga Institute where my husband was trained. And he was a lovely man, really, in the ashram really embraces all religions, so really a supporter of the ecumenical movement. But he said,
That's a big word, ecumenical.
I love that word, ecumenical.
Ecumenical, 5 syllables.
Which
Tell
is
me about
really-
it. What does it mean?
Ecumenical is like all the religions coming together.
Oh.
So when you enter actually the ashram, it says truth is one, paths are many. And when you walk around the ashram, it's beautiful because you see rabbis and priests and swamis and everyone coming together.
Beautiful.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, why not?
So that was a wonderful experiment he tried on early on in his career, as far as training. And then I, was the recipient of really enjoying that gorgeous space where he actually was this past weekend presenting. But going back to Satchidananda, he had a lot of gems, but one of them was like, if we're raised, for example, in poverty, like we need to go to the other extreme to find like the middle way. So that's how I kind of saw your car experiments, is like you needed, because you were raised in poverty, to experience. And then you then settled into, this is perfect.
Well, I am blessed and highly favored to have had the ability to experiment in that regard, because I know that the statistics say when you're raised in poverty, you stay in poverty.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's this mindset of, and so the love and support of, another big, juicy experiment was looking for love. As a gay man, in 30 years ago, Jeff and I will celebrate 30 years this year. And 30 years ago, we were told there is no love between gay people. It's only sex. And even in our own community, I think we kind of bought into that a little bit as gay men. And as I was telling others, of course, I was sitting on a bar stool when I was telling them, but when I was telling others I'm looking for love, they were telling me that it didn't exist.
Wow.
And again, there was something in the spirit of me that just knew that I would find love. Mm-hmm. And so it was one big, juicy experiment. I was going to find it, and I did. And in that was this unconditional love. So it was like icing on the cake, like the cherry on top, was not only did I find love, but I found unconditional love through my husband. And in that, it freed my spirit. And he said, you can do whatever you want. I love you and support you. You can be whoever you want. He gave me ideas and prodded me and pushed me in directions that stretched who I was. And in love, God is love. In God, I can do all things, And so because of that, and because of him, and because of my willingness to try on juicy experiments, I was able to be successful in my life. And so feel blessed and privileged and highly favored that I could have a Porsche and a Range Rover and all of that to try that stuff on and not just continue the cycle of poverty.
Yeah, and listening to you, where I'm really struck, and so listeners, I really want you to take this in, because as I'm listening to Sean, and you might be having the same experience, is the key is, you said move your feet, but like getting out there. Like experiments don't happen sitting on the couch at home. And I think a lot of us can get overwhelmed, we can get paralyzed. It feels too big, so we might check out. But like the common theme for you is you've been blessed with a lot of energy, but you don't stay still. You know what I mean? Like you get out there. You went through a lot of cars very quickly. And I'm a huge supporter of that. It's kind of, again, knowing when that experiment, like the Porsche, doesn't feel right. It's just not resonating with your spirit. So then you were very quick. You're a quick person.
Yeah, I lost a lot of money really quickly.
Yeah, and then that goes back to trust, right? Like trusting. And I know, going back to just like our adoption experience, there was a lot of what ifs going on at that point in my life. Like, what if this? What if that? And I remember going to my first adoption meeting and sobbing the entire way there, knowing that I was saying goodbye to, giving birth naturally. So there was like a grieving. And in that grieving, though, on the other side, because I allowed myself to fully grieve, there was this beautiful welcoming. But I remember the first woman I met, her name, I was like, well, what's your name? And they had successfully, she and her partner had successfully adopted 2 beautiful children. She's like, my name is Hope. And I was like, oh, Hope, it's so nice to meet you. And, I was like, well, what if this happens? And what if that happens? And she's like, honey, I'm going to stop you right there. She's like, let go and let God.
Well, that's an AA.
Right? But
Let
it
go and
woke
let
me
God.
up
Yeah.
where, you know what I mean? It really, there was something, in the yoga tradition, they call it Shaktipat, where, like the guru, like does a peacock feather over your head and like you just are, boom, like awake. There was just something in that moment that shocked me to a level of awakening. Like it's time to trust. It's
Yeah,
time
and
to
I love
let
that you
go.
said in that moment, because at least my experience, and maybe you who are listening will feel the same way. It's like we get the shock. I have this built-in forgetter that I had the moment. And then so I'll have the moment, and then it'll be 20 minutes later and I'll have forgotten I had the moment. Not always. Some moments resonate longer than
Yeah.
others, but just again being human, being reminded that I have the moment, and just like holding that check, that $237,000 check, just holding it for a moment, and then letting it go and letting that moment reverberate however it does in my body, but not saying, okay, I've had this profound experience, now I have to be this way forever. No, I've had this moment, I've had this experience in this moment, and we're going to let the reverberations of that moment last forever, however long it is, and
Yeah.
celebrate that for however long.
And I think it's like the more experiments we do, it builds confidence, it builds momentum. And so, and I really want to reiterate what we've talked about a few times, but just to begin, using Sean's words, begin
This
and
moment.
right, this moment. And then,
Wait, this moment.
yeah,
Wait, no, this moment. Because they're always happening.
right?
And I'm thinking, oh shit, I didn't begin in the last moment. I can't believe it. I can't believe I didn't begin. I didn't begin. The whole time I'm saying, I can't believe I didn't begin, I'm wasting another moment to begin.
Yeah. And it could be
Seems
like
simple, but
going out to dinner and ordering something different on the menu, going to the grocery store and getting something that you've never gotten before and
I
trying
remember
it.
this Oprah episode where this woman was at an auction and she came to the Oprah show with Oprah shoes. And she stood up and she had Oprah shoes.
What are Oprah shoes?
Her shoes. Like Oprah had put some shoes up for auction. And this woman bought Oprah's pumps, her heels. And I can't remember the exact context, but here's a story I'll tell about it. The woman raised her hand and Oprah went over with the microphone and she said, I wanted you to know that I bought your shoes because I just wanted to be able to walk in your shoes just for a moment. Because she couldn't walk in her own shoes, but
Yeah.
she knew that she could walk in Oprah's shoes for a moment. It was something real. The metaphor of that was so profound for her that it allowed her to begin in her own life. And in the same regard, with we're talking about Oprah, when she was talking about exercise. How many steps did you do yesterday? I walked 10,000 steps yesterday. Walk 10,001 tomorrow. Walk 10,002 the next day. Again, we're talking about these small, one more step. It is signaling to the universe that I want change. I'm willing to put in my effort, and I'm asking that the universe conspire to help me in my big, juicy experiment.
Right. And it's like, and if we get off step, being gentle with ourselves and just, starting again the next day. For example, I've been doing this walking streak and I was telling Sean about it yesterday. I'm like, I'm going to walk your property because I got to keep the walking streak going. But it was a long day and I didn't walk yesterday. So I broke my streak. So the old me would have been like, beating myself up and and probably not walking again. You know what I mean? Like really like letting weeks or months go by. But I'm like, no, it's okay. And you'll get there. And it might be today, but it'll definitely be tomorrow. Right. So it's like not getting off track too long. But a lot of times people get off track when maybe an experiment fails. And it's okay as long as we get back on track.
You know, Allison, I don't know if it's because I've had so much trauma in my life from the alcoholism, the upbringing, or whatever. I feel like I have been broken in so many ways, in so many different layers and levels in the spirit of me. And I need reminders everywhere. And so I intentionally do that. I know where the gaps are. And so I intentionally put fillers in those gaps to help bridge the gaps so that when something doesn't line up right, I have a note on the mirror that says, "You are beautiful." Or out here in the hallway, just outside the room where we're recording, is something that says, "Be gentle with yourself."
Yeah. And I love your home because it feels like you've lived here for 100 years. So it's wild. You've only been here for
2 years.
I mean, that's pretty incomprehensible. But it's something that I love about this house that I'd like to start doing more for myself is it's so intentional. Like every single item, everything is intentional and it has meaning. But what's beautiful when you're a guest, so it'd be really cool if you guys joined us for one of our workshops, is that you too will find something that will be a reminder for you.
Right. I open my whole house. My husband and I open the whole house to you. And we know that the land wants you here, and we know that the things that are on the walls and the objects that are in the house are supportive of us, but we know that they're here to support you too. And I remind people of that as they come in. I want you to wander. I want you to dream. I want it to mean, just because something means something to me doesn't mean that's what it means to you, but it does have meaning and you can feel it. You can feel it. And I just want to say out loud, I'm a wounded healer. I'm wounded. I really work hard to be honorable. I really work hard to keep my ship straight. Ship with a P and my shit with a T.
Right? Love it.
But to do the best I can to pray or whatever is resonating with me in that moment around the things that we have talked about on this podcast. We'll continue to talk about on it. And I don't do every day, but not everything that we say every day. But all of it is needed for me, from my vision boards to my crazy board, as I call it, to I have a marquee in here that's above Allison's head that says, "Let's conjure the human spirit," as these reminders that everything is okay. And I want to encourage you out there that everything is okay and you're not alone. And I'm over here often wondering, is everything okay? Even in all my practice and all my learnings and all of that, and so when we were talking in the beginning of this episode, Allison, around you not feeling alone when we're together, is this reminder that everything's okay.
Yeah.
And with D. Daniels production and how great they've been, really around encouraging, the way they encourage is just, again, everything you're doing is okay. That you want to do that, that's follow your spirit, Sean. Follow your spirit, Allison. This is what is needed.
Right. And it's an experiment gone well, right? Because we could have a very different experience where, like the podcast, one big juicy experiment, right? But hiring D. Daniels Media, and they could be very different people where we'd be like, oh my God.
Well, it was a big juicy experiment, wasn't it?
I think we should abandon this. But there's something about D and Megan where, and I can't emphasize this enough, and I keep telling them, there's something in their energy that's incredibly safe.
Grounded.
So whether they're in the room or not, I don't even know. And if anything, I just feel really supported and cared for. So that's the beauty,
And that's who we want to be for you. When at the end, when Dee says, "You are not alone." That's what we want you to feel. This is a big, juicy experiment for us, and we're learning every day. So hang in there with us and know that that's our intention, is to be sitting next to you in the car with your headphones on, at the gym, wherever you are listening to us, in whatever big, juicy experience you have going on, experience that you have going on, that you're not alone. We're here with you, celebrating you, championing you, and also doing the scary stuff over here. We're not just talking, we're walking, and we want to encourage you to walk and then talk to us about it.
Absolutely.
However you can.
The more we hear from you, the merrier. I think it'll just give us more.
Yeah, because you can work with me one-on-one. You can work with Allison one-on-one. You can come to the farm. And, these workshops are so intimate because they're 12 to 15 people maximum. Most people are staying here on the land, and the land is longing for you to be here. My husband's cooking awesome food. So it's like this experience where you can really share your juicy experiment with everyone in circle, to be heard, to be seen, to be championed, to be encouraged. That's what you get here. That's the intent of the farm, the Following Spirit Institute, the human spirit. And you're invited.
Absolutely. So as I was saying earlier, what I so appreciate about Sean and really listening to him today with my heart ears.
Lovely.
That the reason I think you've been incredibly successful and you've got this incredible gift to share your journey with others and inspire others is you have been willing. And I think that's the key. We're not going to really get too far if we're sitting on the couch and our mantra is no. Did you ever see that movie, Yes Man?
No.
Oh my gosh,
ma'am.
with Jim Carrey?
No,
And it's
ma'am.
like 100 years old, because unfortunately, sadly, he's retired. It's a great movie. I highly recommend it. It's very much like a life coaching movie. It's just about a guy who said no to everything and then the repercussions, and then he shifts to a yes. And just to see kind of what unfolds from there. So it's something I witnessed within you, and it's something that I witnessed within myself, of really trying to hold on to the mantra of yes rather than no, which is just a great segue into willingness is the key.
Allison, I think you just said it best.
Yeah.
So join us next week, every Thursday, for a new installment of Conjuring the Human Spirit. And we got any homework this week around juicy experiments?
Yeah, like begin, move your feet. It doesn't have to be huge. I think if we make things too big, we don't do it. So just start where you are. So whether it's the shampoo or ordering something on the menu or something bigger, and we're here for you in any way, shape, or form to support you as you begin your own journey.
Yeah, and if you fail,
That's part of it, man.
begin again.
Yeah. What do we learn about ourselves?
Yeah.
Yep. And with each failure, it takes us closer to who we are and how we want to show up in this world and how we can align with the human spirit in a much more powerful way.
Yeah, maybe you just need a truck to run over shit.
That's right.
That's what
Or
I
maybe
needed.
you need a convertible Porsche.
Yeah, or a BMW like Allison drives.
That's
a
right.
convertible
20
BMW.
years old.
Whatever it is this week, be gentle with yourself and know that you're not alone.
Thanks for listening to Conjuring the Human Spirit. You can connect with us and even make plans to work one-on-one with Sean at McGuireLife.com and with Allison at viespritcoaching.com. That's VIEESPRIT coaching.com, or tap the links provided in the description of this episode. Until next time, remember, you're not alone.